And we are back. Welcome to another FPL video here on SO99 Gaming. Today I am going to be breaking down who I believe are all the best cheap options slash hidden gem options for the upcoming FPL season. You will see on your screen right now we have a completely blank squad. I say blank squad, the eagle-eyed among you will of course notice that these spots have already been filled up, but we are going to refill them and talk about all of the other options because ultimately it's these players that are going to be the differentials when it comes to the end of the season. It's going to be your cheap players that get you those little bit of extra points to see off all of your competition. And genuinely, this season, you can build yourself an entire squad of 15 out of these cheap options, giving you some massive budget to spend at the end on getting those big players in. I would genuinely recommend doing this as a method of actually building your team. Start with a team full of all the cheap players, then replace them with the better players afterwards. That's what we're going to do for this video. If you want to get yourselves involved in my FPL league for this season, you can do so with the code below my face in the top corner of your screen right now. And whilst you're there, why not consider dropping a like on this video and subscribing to the channel if you're new around here as well. We're going to be doing FPL content every single week on this channel this year, including the FPL Challenge, which we will be starting with game week 1 as well. But without any further ado, let's get into it. Let's start building our entire team of cheap beasts. So what's important to note about this video is that if you're going to have a 100 million budget, which you have got, divided amongst 15 players, that means your average spend per player is £6.6 million. Therefore, for the purposes of this video, there will not be a single player in this team that is worth more than 6.5 million. Every single one of these players will be priced below the average price of a player needed to be in your FPL team, which is how you will then get that budget available to you at the end. So that's really important to note before we get into it. But on top of that, obviously, goalkeepers, the maximum price is 5.5. Defenders, other than Trent, the maximum price is 6.5, and then obviously it gets more expensive in midfield and attack. So I'm not just going to suddenly start putting in 6 million defenders because that would defeat the purpose of getting cheap players in. I'm going to set my cheap budget for the goalkeepers and the defence at 4.5, and then it will be 6.5 for the midfielders and the attack. Hopefully that explains everything to you. Now let's get into it by starting off with those goalkeepers. So we're going to go by goalkeepers. We're going to set the max cost to 4.5, and then we're going to actually sort by percentage selected by, because that will always give you a good indication of what other people are thinking. And firstly, 25% of people think that Matt Turner is going to play at 4 million. I'm going to tell you right now, he is not. Matt Sells signed on deadline day for Nottingham Forest and played every single game in the Premier League for Forest for the rest of the season. If you're going to go for Turner, you are going for him as if you were going for any other 4 million goalkeeper. There is not a single £4 million goalkeeper this year that is going to start for their club. If you're going to go for 4.5 million goalkeepers, obviously as you can see by the team already, I have gone for Robert Sanchez and I have gone for Matt Sells. Sells because I actually think Forest have a really good run of fixtures. I think that's why many people have gone for Turner. But like I say, Sells will be the goalkeeper. So if you're going for a Nottingham Forest goalkeeper, get him at 4.5. And I've gone for Robert Sanchez because as things stand, he will be Chelsea's number 1 because Maresca has already stated that. My only worry is they're on the verge of signing Philip Jorgensen from Villarreal. And if he comes in, he may go in ahead of Sanchez. However, there are plenty of other good 4.5 million goalkeepers available for you as well. So let's again set it to 4.5. And you can see here, Flecken, I don't think is a great shout. Brentford's fixtures are okay, but not great. I think Areola is a very good shout, although again, fixtures aren't particularly great. My big pick for me would either be Verbruggen, because he should be the regular for Brighton this season, had a very good Euros with Holland, but I would be going for Norberto Neto. Again, Bournemouth's fixtures pretty favourable for the first few weeks, gets a bit dicey after that, but I think there's a good opportunity for him to get points early on. But like I say, right now, my two 4.5 million goalkeeper picks would be Sanchez and Sells. That said, I think it's probably smarter to just go for one big name goalkeeper and just have them as your mainstay keeper for the entire time. Whether that's going for an Alisson or an Edison, whether that's going for a Pickford, Martinez or Onana or a Pope at 5 million. If it was up to me or in my actual team, I'm going for a 5 million goalkeeper and then just a 4 million goalkeeper that I'm never going to use. Into the defence then, and genuinely, and I do actually mean this, there is no reason why you can't have an entire back five of 4.5 million defenders this year. There are so many good options, it's unbelievable. Obviously the ones that I've gone for in the team that I've built, Pau Torres, Joachim Andersen, Mikalenko, Anthony Robertson, Lenny Yoro. All of these players will start every single game for their club if they're fit. But there are so many more. Dan Burn, 4.5 million for Newcastle. Great opening run of fixtures. He'll either play at centre-back or left-back. Konsa, 4.5, will play left-back. Gahey will play every game and could get a move to a bigger club. Van der Ven, 4.5 million for Tottenham. Martinez, same as Yoro. That's your Manchester United back two, 4.5 million. Lewis Dunk is 4.5. A regular big point scorer on FPL. 8 Nouri, who's either going to be playing left wing back or potentially some saying in midfield this season for Wolves. He's 4.5. Castagna, the counterpart to Robinson, will play right back for Fulham. Leif Davis, who I would avoid for now because their first two games are Man City and Liverpool. But after that, Ipswich have a really nice run of fixtures. And don't forget, 18 assists for Leif Davis in the Championship last season. That's just your 4.5 million options. Then you've got your 4 million options. Wout Faz will play every game for Leicester. Harwood Bellis will play every game for Southampton. You are talking, 20 to 25 really good options at 4.5 million for defenders in FPL this season. If you're someone who wants to stack your attack, then you have got the means to have a really, really good defence without spending any budget this season at all. That then, of course, brings us on to the midfield. And like I said, I am not going to be spending any more than 6.5 million in this midfield. And the three 6.5 million midfielders I've actually chosen for this video are Declan Rice, Christopher Nkunku and Morgan Gibbs-White. We've already spoken about Nottingham Forest's fixtures at the start of the season. But for those of you that were unaware, Bournemouth at home, Southampton away, Wolves at home. Morgan Gibbs-White got 142 points last year, an average of 3.8 a game. If you still think that's too much for a Nottingham Forest player, then Anthony Elanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi are also both available at 5.5 million. As you can see them in here, Hudson-Odoi and Elanga, 5.5 million for them. You can also see there for 5.5 that you've got Kobbie Mainoo, who is expected to play most games for Manchester United this season. Beyond that, we go even cheaper. You've got Harry Winks available at 4.5 million. He'll be expected to play every single game for Leicester this season. And the other one that I've gone for in my main team here is Yuri Tielemans, who again is at 5.5. And what's most critical about Tielemans is that so far only 0.5% of owners have Yuri Tielemans in their side. And from the reports I'm seeing out of Aston Villa, Yuri Tielemans is set to be a regular starter for Villa this season, but he's also set to be their penalty taker for them this season. So 5.5 for a regular Premier League penalty taker in a top 4 Champions League team. You should be biting your hand off for Yuri Tielemans at 5.5, and only 0.5% of people have picked him. As for the other players that I actually kind of glossed over there briefly, firstly Declan Rice, 6.5 million for him. Became Arsenal's corner taker towards the back end of last season, which meant he was able to rack up 9 assists as well as 7 goals. The expectation is he will continue to be Arsenal's corner taker and free kick taker when they're doing right-footed set pieces for this season. So even more opportunities for him to get contributions, and at 6.5 million, and again, 4.3 points a game, really good value for him. And Christopher Nkunku has swapped from a £9 million forward to a 6.5 million midfielder. As things stand, he's fit. He scored in the first pre-season game for Chelsea the other night. And from all expectations, it looks like he's going to be Chelsea's striker for next season. He's obviously not going to take penalties because of Cole Palmer. But 6.5 million for a midfielder that's going to be playing up front for Chelsea. And once they get past that Man City game, Wolves, Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, Forest, Christopher Nkunku is arguably becoming a must-have, and 14% of people already agree with me on that remark. Beyond that, you've obviously got a whole bunch of other options. Garnacho, 6.5. Mohamed Kudus, 6.5. Rodri plays every single game for Manchester City, 6.5. Morgan Rogers at 5 million looks like he could be a great shout as well. Obviously, Moussa Diaby has moved on to Al Ittihad, so Morgan Rogers is expected to play left wing for Aston Villa this season now. He is only 5 million, so an absolute bargain for him. Obviously, Leon Bailey, the other option. Andreas Pereira, consistent point scorer. Bruno Guimaraes, I'm not so sure about. McAllister, again, it's unsure how Liverpool are going to be playing at the start of this season. Bernardo Silva, when he plays, 6.5 is a bargain. Pascal Gross has been replaced by João Pedro as Brighton's penalty taker, and believe me, we'll get to him. But he still takes all of their set pieces, so he's a good value at 6.5. John McGinn will be taking Villa's penalties when Tielemans isn't on the pitch, so he's potentially a good option as well. And then finally, I'd probably say the likes of Mavididi at 5.5 for Leicester isn't bad, and the usual suspects of Hwang Hee-chan and Pedro Neto for Wolves. However, I'd be avoiding them for now because, again, you look at their fixtures: Arsenal, Chelsea, Forest, Newcastle, Villa, Liverpool, Brentford, City. It's not a great start for Wolves, so I would be avoiding Wolves players, and that's actually the reason why their striker Matheus Cunha isn't in my front line of forwards, which of course we will now get onto. And the forwards that I have chosen, who are even cheaper than 6.5 million, are João Pedro, Rodrigo Muniz and Jamie Vardy. All three of these players are 6 million and cheaper, and all three of these players will be their penalty takers for their clubs. João Pedro, I think, scored something like 11 penalties for Brighton last season in all competitions. The expectation is he will continue to be starting for Brighton this season and will continue to be their penalty taker. Nearly 20% of people have already picked him. The only concern I have with him, again, is Brighton's fixtures at the start of this season. But again, you get past Man United and Arsenal, got that Ipswich and Forest double back-to-back there. Good chance to get João Pedro in your teams for that game week. Rodrigo Muniz, nobody's picking Fulham players. I think people are looking at Manchester United away in their opening fixture and are just completely ignoring Fulham players altogether. But after that Manchester United fixture, Leicester at home, Ipswich away, West Ham at home, Newcastle at home, Forest away, that's a pretty good start to the season for Fulham. And even after the Manchester City games, Everton, Brentford, Palace, Wolves in consecutive matches. Good fixtures for Fulham at the start of this season. And at 6 million for a player who did get Player of the Month last season, I think Muniz is a must-have, even if you're not going to put him in your opening game week fixture. And then finally, Jamie Vardy, now at the ripe old age of 36, still will be Leicester's regular striker. 5.5 million for him. He's still going to be Leicester's penalty taker. Whether or not he can still hack it at this level remains to be seen. But if you don't like him, then you've still got the man that I went for in my main team for this year's game. And that is, of course, Adam Armstrong at 5.5 million. He was the top goal contributor in the Championship last season. Will be Southampton's penalty taker for this season. And again, if Vardy isn't hacking it, then Patson Daka is also there at 5 million. I know, again, a lot of people have tried to put Ladapo in their team as a 4.5 million option. But the issue is, Ipswich have signed Liam Delap from Manchester City, and he is going to be their starting striker. It's not going to be Ladapo. So like with the goalkeeper situation, there is not a single 4.5 million striker that is going to start for their club. There is obviously, like I said, Harwood Bellis and Wout Faz as 4 million defenders. There is Harry Winks as a 4.5 million midfielder, but there is no 4.5 million striker and there is no 4 million goalkeeper that can get into their starting lineups for this season. As we then move up towards 6.5 million, obviously we've already spoken about Matheus Cunha, but like I said, Wolves' fixtures just aren't quite good enough in my opinion. But then even around the 6 million mark, obviously I've already spoken about Muniz, but Chris Wood, again, remember Nottingham Forest's fixtures. Chris Wood got 14 goals for Nottingham Forest last season. Bournemouth, Southampton, Wolves. Really good opportunities for Chris Wood to kick on from where he left off last season. Johan Visser, probably going to be more of a bench player this season now that Mbermo is back and Ivan Toney's back. But his goal contributions speak for themselves. Calvert-Lewin will be the starting striker for Everton. Will be the penalty taker for Everton. So 6 million isn't so bad for him either. And then finally, John Duran at 6 million, currently an Aston Villa player. Looks like he's going to be making a move to West Ham. But I would be holding fire on him for now because firstly, West Ham's fixtures are a little bit dodgy. And also, we don't really know for certain if Lopetegui is going to opt to go for a striker up front for West Ham or if he's going to stick with Jarrod Bowen as the man up front. My expectation would be the reason they're willing to spend 40 million on Duran is because he's going to go straight up front. So once he's signed, watch this space because I really do rate him. But like I say, West Ham's fixtures aren't quite what I would like for players in my team at the start of this season. But that is going to be my blanket sort of cheap beast team. And what you can now do is if I scroll back up to the top, you will notice that we have a full squad of players that, in my opinion, are all going to contribute good points this season. And we've still got £22 million budget left over. That means that I can take out Jamie Vardy and put in Erling Haaland. That means I can take out Harry Winks and put in Mohamed Salah. That means I can take out Declan Rice and put in Cole Palmer, or Bukayo Saka, or Heung-min Son, or Phil Foden. And this is where you can shimmy it around once you've actually got those core cheap players in your team. You then actually have the budget left over to get your top 3 FPL players in from last season whilst maintaining that entire squad of cheap beasts around them. That would be my recommendation. Let me know what cheap players you're going to be going for in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching as always. Don't forget to sign up for the SO99 League with the code now available in the middle of your screen. Thank you very much for watching once again. I'll see you very soon.